su fii ci Block TV ak suba si show comme nuñ leen ko baaxee di defal dinañ oo ku nekk dinañ dalal ku nekk ak ci fànn booy mun a yëngu fii ci kër gi comme nuñ leen ko waxee rek ba léegi képp ku bëgg ñu dalal ci suñ programme bi fii ci Block TV ak ci suba si show mun ngaa koo ci number bi 765 2105 wala képp koo xam ne am na sa any product wala services boo xam ne bëgg nga ñu jàllale la ko si suñ suba si show bi mun ngaa koo tamit ci 765 2105 wala ci 357 8423 ba léegi mun ngaa woote ci 890 7681 fii ci Block TV ak suba si show.
fii ci suba si ànd si ak su ak Mohawk Block TV bu ko kenn rate weekdays nii rek lañ koy defee yéen ñëpp a ngi ci biir.
asalaamaaleykum suñ mbokki seetaankat yi maa ngi leen di nuyu ñeen ñëpp man la seen xarit su fii ci Block TV ak suba si show comme nuñ leen ko baaxee di defal dinañ oo ku nekk dinañ dalal ku nekk ak ci fànn booy mun a yëngu fii ci kër gi comme nuñ leen ko waxee rek ba léegi képp ku bëgg ñu dalal ci suñ programme bi fii ci Block TV ak ci suba si show mun ngaa koo ci number bi 765 2105 wala képp koo xam ne am na sa any product wala services boo xam ne bëgg nga ñu jàllale la ko si suñ suba si show bi mun ngaa call tamit ci 765 2105 wala ci 357 8423 ba léegi mun ngaa woote ci 890 7681 fii ci Block TV ak suba si show.
fii ci suba si ànd si ak su ak Mohawk Block TV bu ko kenn rate weekdays nii rek lañ koy defee yéen ñëpp a ngi ci biir.
asalaamaaleykum suñ mbokki seetaankat yi maa ngi leen di nuyu ñeen ñëpp man la seen xarit su fii ci Block TV ak suba si show comme nuñ leen ko baaxee di defal dinañ oo ku nekk dinañ dalal ku nekk ak ci fànn booy mun a yëngu fii ci kër gi comme nuñ leen ko waxee rek ba léegi képp ku bëgg ñu dalal ci suñ programme bi fii ci Block TV ak ci suba si show mun ngaa koo ci number bi 765 2105 wala képp koo xam ne am na sa any product wala services boo xam ne bëgg nga ñu jàllale la ko si suñ suba si show bi mun ngaa call tamit ci 765 2105 wala ci 357 8423 ba léegi mun ngaa woote ci 890 7681 fii ci Block TV ak suba si show.
fii ci suba si
joining us online all the way in Turkey and start presenting the representatives from GFF, National Sports Council, National Youth Council, and our able and distinguished border delegates from all over the country present here, the media, and everyone in this hall watching us anywhere in the and beyond. Welcome to the first ever GFF Presidential Debate. My name is Gff Presidential Debate, CPD's Communications Intern, and your host for this session. Tonight, the debate is divided into two sessions. The opening session happening right now, and the debate proper. This is ladies and gentlemen. 3 months ago, Gambians on social media, Facebook to be precise, asked the Commission on Political Debates to organize the first GFF presidential debate. Few days later, the CPD accepted an invitation and invited a few stakeholders in sport and in media to see how best to have this day. Ladies and gentlemen, the rest is history. My task tonight is very simple. I'm just here to guide the session, so I will not bore you with one talk, but I will invite the speakers. But before that, I would like to seize this opportunity to thank our sponsors and media partners for their unwavering support. This program wouldn't have happened without their support. Moving forward, I would invite the Executive Director of Commission on Political Debates, Mr. Bakari Fati, to give the welcome remarks.
Thank you, Board Chair of the Commission on Political Debate, Boston, the representative of the Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari, who is currently in Turkey. He would have loved to be here, but unfortunately, due to official visit. The country director of the National Democratic Institute, Mr. Atan Alijaj, the executive director of the National Youth Council, Alijaju, voting delegates of the Gambia Football Federation, partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my singular honor to welcome you all to the first ever presidential debate organized by the Commission on Political Debate between contesting candidates of the Gambia Football Federation. As the chair rightly mentioned, sometime last month, some sport-loving individuals reached out to the Commission on Political Debate to organize a debate between Mr. Lamin Kababajo, who is the incumbent president of the Gambia Football Federation, and Mr. Sadibu Kamasho, who is a former executive member of the GFF. After a series of consultation with different relevant stakeholders in the field of sports and football in particular, we have resolved to stage this historic event as an organization. Historic in the sense that in its 70-year plus of existence, there has never been in the past where a debate like this one was organized between or among candidates opting for any contested position or elected offices of the Gambia Football Federation. So as an organization, we take pride in championing such a cause at a time when not only people who love sports are interested in Gambia Football Federation presidential elections, but even some of us who are fanatics when it comes to mainstream politics. Ladies and gentlemen, previously, our focus as an organization has only been on mainstream politics. And that culture was first cultivated in 2016 when we organized the first presidential debate between Khalifa Saleh on behalf of Adama Barrow, who was actually representing the coalition parties of the 2016 president's election, and Modu Kah, who was representing Mama Kande of GDC. The 2016 presidential debate gave birth to subsequent debates, including the 2017 National Assembly election debate, the 2018 mayoral election debate, the 2021 presidential debate, and the recently concluded 2020 National Assembly debate. And I must emphasize that the 2021 presidential debate, which we partnered with the National Democratic Institute, was the first debate where presidential candidates represented themselves. The previous ones, they were represented by their spokespersons. About our tonight's debate, I wish to stress that both Mr. Lamin Kababajo and Sadibu Kamaso were written to approximately 1 month before to participate in this historic event. We engaged both teams to share with them the debate rules, the code of conduct, the thematic areas of the debate. Until now, the only candidate that signed the code of conduct and expressed interest to participate in this debate is Mr. Sadibu Kamaso. However, as debate organizers, we are still hopeful that Mr. Kaba might have a change of heart and come to tonight's debate. And I can assure Mr. Kaba and his team that he would be allowed to participate in this debate, even if it is 1 minute before the debate starts. As part of our efforts to bring these two individuals on the same platform, we went as far as inviting the 77 voting delegates whose voices matter a lot when it comes to Gambia Football Federation, because they are the deciding factor. A few of the delegates also said that they wouldn't attend the debate if Mr. Kababajo does not honor the invitation to participate. Even though that's not what we anticipate as debate organizers, and also considering the overwhelming interest of Gambians, Gambians built in this year's Gambia Football Federation election, it will be an error of judgment for a delegate not to attend this debate because of the reason mentioned above. As one of our football commentators said, the entire nation's weight is on your shoulders. As you are also about to have your Congress, I want to personally appeal to you to include debate as part of your constitution. Why? Because this will go a long way in promoting good governance, accountability, and transparency in the GFF. Furthermore, even though we are the organizers of tonight's debate, we also have limitations in terms of questions. We have little or no say on questions to be asked by the moderator. The debate moderator is actually the one who single-handedly picked the questions from the thematic areas given to him by the Commission on Political Debate. And we have no say or which sort of questions must be asked tonight. We also want to assure the public that the moderator was not handpicked or imposed on the Commission on Political Debates by any individual or sponsor. After receiving several individual names as potential candidates to moderate the debate, the Commission on Political Debates went through a vetting process. Of all the names received, Mr. Ronald Senghor was selected as per our set criteria, which is identical to our previous debate moderator selection processes. We know that the culture of political debate is somewhat new in the political landscape of the Gambia, especially in the area of sports. And this is because due to the lack of programmatic policies or agenda from candidates who often focus on individual personality, religion, or tribe, so on. Sometimes clientelistic behavior. So they increasingly focus on, forget about issues that matter to the electorate or the people that are relevant stakeholders in this sector. And those are the areas that we've identified in the thematic areas. Therefore, the Commission on Political Debate will continue to organize political debate and dialogue between and among candidates in order to promote and strengthen a healthy and inclusive democracy, transparency, accountability in sports. In conclusion, I wish to seize this opportunity to thank the team, my team at the Commission on Political Debate, and also to thank, a special thank to Mr. Haruna Drame and his team of Paradise TV, Mr. Babukar Sengol of GRTS, and Babukar Jallo. I'm not sure Babukar is with us, but I also want to thank him for their invaluable contribution towards tonight's debate. A special thank also goes to our incredible partners, namely the government of the Gambia through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Africell Limited, INET, Paradise TV, GRTS, Block TV, iAfrica, Star TV, the Fatu Network, Television, Gambian Talents TV, Standard Newspaper, Paradise FM Radio, Afri Radio, and Bori Media. Ladies and gentlemen, I do hope that you enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bakari Fati. Moving forward, I would call on the CPD board chairperson, Hannah Foster, to give a statement. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson of the event. I'm very pleased to be here, and on behalf of the board of CPD, I would like to thank each one of you for being here and to assure you that we are all looking forward to a very eventful evening. Honorable Bakari Baji, Minister of Youth and Sports of the Gambia, our partner from NDI, country chairperson, Anand Al-Jaj. I'm sorry if I've not pronounced it properly, but you are most welcome. It doesn't take away anything from our warm welcome to you, to the Gambia, and to this particular event. I'd like to also acknowledge the confidence expressed in asking CPD to organize this event. As we all know, in the past few years, from 2016, 2017, CPD has been involved in organizing debates. And I'm sure we all know that in mainstream politics, we have not, as Gambians, been involved in ensuring that we have issue-based discussions on our plans or what it is that we are preparing for the Gambian people. And I hasten to say that this particular culture is being nurtured by CPD, and we hope that this historic event will be followed by many other events, because we do know that good governance, as my colleague has said, it is very important that people know what plans you have, what your agenda is, and how you want to make a difference in the institution that you want people to vote for you to represent. It is a bit difficult if you ask us, because we have seen a culture of abuse, a culture of everybody pointing at others and forgetting that we are all to be blamed. And this particular trend is very encouraging, because we know that each and every candidate will definitely take extra effort to make sure that they comply, that any promises that they commit themselves to, we will expect that they will keep those promises. I would like to also ensure that CPD is indeed committed to ensure that these debates, this series of debates, are held in an atmosphere that would boost confidence in the moderator, as well as others who would be working closely with CPD to ensure that these debates are held and in a position to provide the voters with the relevant information to make informed decisions as to who would best fulfill their aspirations for those positions. I do not want to be long, but then allow me to also add my voice to that of Bakari, to thank partners and stakeholders, and to also solicit your support for CPD. As the executive director had rightly said, yes, there are a lot of things that we want to engage in, but we are also challenged. So we hope that as time goes on, we will have some of us here who are interested in seeing issue-based campaigning and debates coming forward and talking to the executive director to see how best they can support us in this endeavor. So without wasting any more time, I'd like to thank each and every one of you once more and to say enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Finally, moving on to Honorable Bakari Baji, Minister of Youth and Sports, who would be giving his statement on video.
Hello, good evening. Just want to extend my greetings to all of you that are attending the 2022 Gambia Football Federation elections debate. Whoever is there, the leadership of the Gambia Commission on Political Debate, and Aruna Drame, and all the other media partners that are there, and of course to the candidates who are vying for the president of the elections, and the delegates who are in attendance in this very important debate. A few months ago, or a month and a half ago, I had visitors in the office who came from the Gambia Commission on Political Debate, accompanied by Mr. Drame, and their idea was to have a debate for the first time in our history, due to the fact that the Gambian population has developed so much interest in the 2022 Gambia Football Federation elections. And for that reason, they thought it wise to answer to the call of the public to organize a debate between the two candidates. And upon discussion, we, as a ministry, didn't hesitate to give our endorsement to it, because we understand that it's important for people not just to go and vote, but to have the opportunity to to listen to their candidates present their ideas, and then they can be able to make a choice. And of course, we know that some of you have already made your choices. Maybe some of you haven't made up your choices, but this platform would be an opportunity to be able to make an informed decision and a final decision for that matter. Now, why is it important that we promote debate? It's because we now understand that in the new dispensation, the government have promoted the free participation of people in political discussion, as well as in the governance system. And also, the Gambia Football Federation is a private sector organization consisting of their stakeholders, but they are there on behalf of the Gambian people. All the things they do is on behalf of the people of the Gambia. And yes, it is just about 77 people who are going to vote. But those 77 people, small as it might be, represent the entire country. And we all understand that our football has gone to a level that it has attracted so much interest, both the Gambians at home and Gambians abroad. And so this debate will be an opportunity for the candidates to come and tell the Gambian people what they have in stock when they are elected for the next 4 years. So I hope that it will be seen as a platform for debate and not a platform to castigate each other. It will be a platform for candidates to share their ideas and present a roadmap as to how they want to collaborate with all their stakeholders to develop football. As a ministry, we have taken a neutral position on the elections of the GFF because we understand that in the end, our interest is to ensure that the stakeholders do the right thing, vote in a person that they believe would be able to run their affairs in a more transparent way, in a way that will develop football and football across the country, not just in one area, but all the other areas. But there's more towards that. Government is a key collaborator of the Gambia Football Federation, and we want to ensure that transparency occurs in everything that the Gambia Football Federation do. But of course, like I said, the choice is yours. You know who among the candidates is best based on experiences or based on your interactions with them, based on what they tell you they can do. But this political platform would be a better opportunity for them to present their candidate. So on that note, I also want to wish all of you who are present a very successful debate, and again, encourage all of you to be listening attentively and make your choices after the debate today. On behalf of the ministry and the government by extension, we just want to wish you a very successful debate and, of course, a very transparent, free and fair elections for the Gambia Football Federation to elect people that are going to steer the affairs of the federation for the coming 4 years. Thank you very much, and good night, all of you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This marks the end of the opening session and, of course, the end of my task on stage. But before I go, I want to add my own thanks to the thank that Bakari and Adi Botia made on our partners, Honorable Bakari Baji, the Minister of Youth and Sports, Africell Gambia, INET, of course, the able Mr. Haruna Drame, and Paradise TV, Paradise FM, GRTS, Block TV, iAfrica TV, GTV, Star TV, Star FM, the Fatu Network, Standard Newspaper, Afri Radio, and Body Media. Now I will pass the mic on to Mr. Haruna Drame to continue with the rest of the session. You're welcome.
I'm not sure I'm going to be thanking anyone. But good evening. We're glad you're here. And it shows the commitment that you have for Gambian football. I must say from the onset, I have never kicked a football in my entire life, not even 4 corners. I have never watched a 90 minutes of a football game my entire adult life. So when CPD spoke to me about organizing a debate for football, I wondered where we were going to begin. But it was easy because they knew what they wanted exactly, and we had a team that was committed to making this happen. So I want to say thank you to CPD for the foresight, but also for the game changing, because you were known from mainstream politics. But as we discussed in many of our radio talk shows over the last few days, It's public office, and so it's public interest. So it's about time that debates will be respected as a medium to exchange ideas and opinions, and for voters, and in this case, delegates, to make up their mind about who to actually vote for. So I have not been tasked to give a speech here, but we journalists are like teachers. Once we hold a microphone, we don't know how to let go. So let me do the task why I'm here. The moderator of this evening's debate holds a position of Marketing and Communications Manager at Africell Gambia Limited. He manages a diverse team that plans and implements marketing and public relation programs to increase subscriber growth and, of course, retention. He is co-opted board member of the Gambia YMCA and an executive committee member at the African Alliance of YMCAs and the World Alliance of YMCAs. He is also the Deputy Executive Director of Black Magic and the Managing Director at Blueberry Consultancies. Ronald is a huge fan of Gambian football. He never misses a match when the national teams compete, and he frequently attends games of the National Football League at the stadium. Mr. Senghor is a very experienced TV and radio host and a very popular face on TV and voice on radio. He hosts one of the most popular radio shows on Afri Radio, dubbed the 2022 Show, every Saturday. He enjoys watching and playing football, unlike me, enjoys movies and doing volunteer work. Ladies and gentlemen, your moderator for this evening, Mr. Ronald Senghor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harun Adrame, CEO of Paradise TV and Paradise FM. A warm good evening to all members of the press, delegates, audience from online and on radio. My name is Ronald Senghor. Welcome to the first official 2022 GFF Presidential Debate. We are making history together. This is the first time this is happening on the soil of the Gambia. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, my name is Ronald Senghor. I want to welcome all of you into the hall and online. We have a set of rules that we'll be following to ensure that the debate goes on smoothly without interruption. The set of rules are as follows. The debate shall be 1 hour, 30 minutes. The debate will be on 5 thematic areas, which are league standardization, growth of women's football, and regional football plans. 2, financial stability, independence, and FIFA funds. 3, ex-players engagement and management. 4, good governance and transparency. And 5, football pitches, infrastructure, projects, and management. These are the 5 thematic areas in which the presidential aspirants will have questions asked. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me the pleasure to invite Mr. Sadibu Kamaso of Team Restore Confidence onto the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only time you have to put your hands together and clap. So kindly do so. As I continue reading all the rules and regulations. Any questions relating to those areas will be allowed as being relevant. Roughly equal time will be accorded to each of the thematic areas. The debate period should include specific breaks of 5 minutes duration. There may also be tops and trail breaks. The debate will be conducted by one moderator and guided by the instructions of the producer. The countdown of time to make opening or closing remarks, to answer each question or make rebuttals will be displayed for each debater to see via a clock position for easy visibility. The moderator will have the latitude to raise questions for clarification. The response to these follow-up questions must not be longer than 45 seconds. Debaters are not permitted to ask questions of the moderator except in rhetorical manner. However, if they do not understand the question, they may ask for it to be repeated. All questions are to be asked by the moderator. However, an accommodation is also to be made for candidates to review the statements of other candidates. Each candidate has one opportunity to do so in each round. A rebuttal must be completed in no other than 1 minute. Each debater will be granted time at the beginning of the debate to make 2-minute long opening statements. At the end of the debate, they will also be granted a similar length of time for closing remarks. The opening remarks will be presented in a form of alphabetical order based on the surnames of the candidates, while the closing remarks will be presented in reverse alphabetical order. There will be no scope for rebuttals of the candidates' opening or closing statements by their opponents, nor will the moderator be able to request clarifications, etc. The moderator may also interject if the candidate's opening or closing remarks extend beyond the allocated time, or if the remarks are deemed to violate the candidate's code of conduct. All debaters will be asked to respond to the same question in each round of the question. The moderator who asks this question can pose a follow-up question to the debater if he or her opinion clarification is required. Questions will be directed at all the candidates in alphabetical order determined by the surnames of the debaters. Each successive round of questions will begin with the candidate in the sequence. After the opening remarks, the debaters will face each round of questions in order which they made in the opening remarks. Debaters will have a maximum of 90 seconds to answer the post question. Each debater will be allowed a maximum of 45 to rebut the responses given by other debaters directed at him or her. After each debate in that round has responded to the initial question and to follow-up questions or requests for clarification from the moderator, each debater will be asked in the same alphabetical order whether they have any rebuttals to offer regarding the responses from the other debaters. They will each have 45 seconds to offer their rebuttals. At the end of each round of questions, the new set of questions will be posed to the next person in the sequence. Thus, candidate A will be the first to answer question 1, while candidate B will be the last to answer. In the next sequence, candidate B will be the first to answer question 2 and candidate A the last, while the third question will be posed to candidate A, last posed to candidate B, etc. Debaters, if they choose to do so, may combine their answers with rebuttals within the time given to them to respond 90 seconds, as long as they respond to the question before delivering a rebuttal of a previous debater. Time limits will be strictly observed. Timing mechanisms will be visible. Participants, the screen is right there in front of you. Participants will indicate time left for each response. Candidates who exceed the allocation will cautiously be firmly interrupted by the moderator, which is me. Debaters are to refer to their opponents cautiously by name. The debaters are expected to acknowledge their opponent ahead of the debate itself, elbows or bum handshakes, and at the end of the debate. Debaters will be asked to stand for the duration of the debate. Stools will be provided so that they may sit during the breaks if they wish to do so. Thank you very much. Mr. Kamaso is out here to hear the debate rules. It was supposed to be read in his absence, but as of the time of this debate, Mr. Lamin Kababajo has declined the invitation of the Commission on Political Debates. Right now, as we get into the debate proper, we would love to invite Mr. Kamaso for his opening statement. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Senghor. Good evening, distinguished stakeholders, fellow Gambians. I am incredibly optimistic about the future of Gambian football. I believe most Gambians by now understand that our football has faced unprecedented crisis over the past 4 years. And it only takes a committed leader to be able to turn things around. And I am that leader. Imagine those young kids, both in urban and rural Gambia, whose dreams are to play football, and yet they struggle to have even a ball. They'll have to stock clothing in a football just to play. Or two kids sharing a pair of shoes with one wearing the left whilst the other wear the right. And yet they still lack the platform to be able to showcase their talent to become professionals. Imagine our female who struggle to play under that scorching heat. Imagine the infrastructure of Gambian football that is so dilapidated that we cannot take our football forward. The time is now for somebody to come forward and take our football to the next level. We are committed to bring that to Gambians because as patriotic citizens, it is our moral duty to ensure that we rid our football of delinquency and take it to the next level. The time is now for football to move in the right direction. Otherwise, we would be going in the wrong direction and our football would not proceed. I am that candidate who can turn things around for Gambian football. I am the future, and I'm here to tell you we are ready to turn Gambian football around.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sadabo Kamaso. Just to remind everyone, this debate will be conducted in English, but you have the liberty to speak any local language of your choice as you deem fit. Now we move into the debate proper, looking at the thematic areas. The first thematic area is league standardization, growth of women's football, and regional football plans. Your first question, Mr. Kamaso, is the current GFF league is a substandard league in comparison to other leagues across Africa. The Gambia has now proven itself to be a powerhouse in African football. What are your plans of standardizing the Gambian league to be in par with other leagues across Africa? In 90 seconds.
First of all, we need to give our league a professional outlook. That would be the apex body of our league. Because up until now, our league is not attractive, it is not lucrative. It is the idea that team restore confidence have, and it's our objective that we should transform our football and make it marketable. Turn things around and make it a professional league whereby we can get players who earn minimum wages, because most of these players are playing football and do not get the basic salaries that they can even take home. We intend to bring the rules and regulations that we will set together with these clubs, make a declaration that we want to transform our football today, make it a professional league, and have all the clubs sit down whilst we do the rules and regulations which would differ from what we have in the professional league and what we have in the first division. That way, all the rules and regulations that are going to be done will be done holistically, knowing full well that we are trying to transform our football so players who are the most important people in this game can be able to earn a decent living rather than taking the perilous backway journey going to Europe because they've lacked the trust and confidence in our football. You would be surprised that a club of almost 90 people have gone through the backway journey because they've lost confidence in our football. And that is because the league doesn't show anything that they can earn a decent salary. We will transform our football and make it professional.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamaso. Your second question on the league standardization, growth of women's football and regional plans. The requirements of standardizing the league requires a lot of funding, both on the side of the Football Federation and the clubs. Taking the current dispensation into play, how will a Kamaso-led executive ensure that all the requirements are met and the clubs are financially viable to adhere to the standardization requirements in 90 seconds?
Let it be known that there are funds from FIFA to support each and every program that any member association that wants to involve in. FIFA has funds allocated for you, and you can tap into those funds so long as the project is viable. We want to standardize the league to ensure that whether it's the coaches, the players, the medics, the administrators, whoever it is, gets a decent salary. Together with them, we will ensure we have 3 different leagues. That is the professional, the first, and the second. Because the third division leagues are under the regional football associations. But standards must be created that will ensure that people know this is a profession. It is not just a game that people just go and enjoy. The transformation process would be something that will be taken back to the stakeholders in order to develop the rules, the regulations, to ensure they happen. And this is extended to the female league, which has for far too long suffered because they will play their matches in areas that people don't even go to watch, or play their matches at 3 p.m. For us to make these marketable, we have to have standards. We have to ensure that our league has a fixed timetable that investors would be willing to spend in their resources. We have to establish rules and regulations of ownership of these clubs for people to understand how clubs are owned, how clubs are run, how clubs are governed. That way people will be interested in putting their resources into our football to move it forward. Because we've been amateurs since 1952, and you cannot be doing the same thing all the time and expect different results. So it's about time that we change this.
Mr. Kamaso, in 2018, you ran the campaign of Mr. Lamin Kaba Bajo with the promise to set up an elite professional league. In 2020, you were part of a delegation that went on a study tour on league standardization in Morocco. 4 years down the line, the Gambia League is still substandard. If you have voted into office, why should the stakeholders believe that a Kamaso-led executive will standardize the league now in 45 seconds?
Actually, one of the reasons why I even came out is because of the failed promises. I do not expect to be asked to go and sell an agenda or sell an idea that is not fulfilled. That is one of the reasons that has even in fact gotten me to the position where I am today. I know it is doable. We can transform our league, and we should transform our league today. Because if we do not transform our league, our players and the clubs are going to continue to suffer. The recent games that the team played and lost in the Gff Chan tournament clearly shows that our league is substandard and has to change now. So we have the rules and regulations there that we will share with all the clubs and start working on it now, get funding from FIFA to make sure this works, because there are other European associations like UEFA who are ready to support, and we will be willing to do that and start that right now.
Thank you, Mr. Kamaso. Women's football is as important as men's football. We have seen FIFA invest a lot of money in popularizing women's football across the world. In the Gambia, we've seen female leagues games canceled due to avoidable reasons. And when the games are played, they are played in locations that rarely have attendance and at odd hours. If you win this election, what assurances can you give the stakeholders of women's football that it will receive the recognition, support, and finances required to properly manage and run it? In 90 seconds.
The future of football is women. And that is the reason why Team Restore Confidence, for the first time in the history of the Gambia, is bringing a female vice president. That is our idea. We're going to increase the participation of women. We've also advocated for women football clubs to have the same rights as voting when it comes to the General Assembly, because for far too long, their votes have been confined within just 3 votes of the Women's Football Association, and yet they still cannot run the affairs of their association. We are giving them the opportunity to be able to come to the General Assembly at the decision-making table, where they will be part of us. FIFA already has a lot of funding for women's football, as I was saying. There's a lot of funding for coaches training, mentorship, women's football development, which are separate from the FIFA funds. It is about writing the necessary programs, the right programs, and giving this to FIFA so that they can give us the funds. If you look at the COVID period, there was $500,000 specifically sent for women's football. Some of the funds that was even allocated to women's football was not even spent on it. We are going to ensure these things happen, and that is why we're bringing a female vice president who sits at the highest decision-making table to be able to advance and advocate for women's rights, advocate for women's football rights. And we are even going to invite other prominent women in this country so that they can come and help us mentor these women and build their capacities. So it is not just a situation where the men would continue to dominate and the women don't. They will play their league matches at the same place and time as the men.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamaso. We've seen a lot of young talents emerge from the regions. How will a Kamaso-led football federation ensure that age adjustment will be an issue of the past, taking into consideration that we have suffered national humiliation due to this fraud? An example will be in 2018 with Kaba as president and Mr. Kamaso, you as team manager of the under-17, where 7 players were disqualified from the WAFU under-17 qualifiers for failing a certified MRI test. How will you ensure that the regions and the clubs provide players that are within the age gap and represent this country without falling for an age fraud?
The lack of structures in grassroots football is the cause of all the problem. And Team Restore Confidence has promised that we are going to set regulations and we will regularize grassroots football at that level, wherein all young children that are in each and every academy will be registered on a digital platform with their birth certificates and their child infant welfare cards to ensure that the actual dates of births are registered. The problems we faced in 2018 were as a result of the lack of the proper structures. You cannot have a good high school and a good university when the nursery and primary are terrible. We are going to ensure that we adopt a bottom-top approach, start working from the grassroots, because the academies and the third divisions are under the regional football associations who, for far too long, have suffered to even get their funds. And even when they do, they get them in piecemeal. This is what we are going to change, because we are going to empower the regional football associations and ensure that all academies are registered. And there's a clear player pathway from the grassroots to the senior level, because that is something that is lacking here. There is no under 15, there is no under 13. If private institutions like Q City can do that and organize their own grassroots tournament, I wonder why the GFF couldn't do that. Because since I came in to the GFF as an executive member, nothing of that sort has ever happened. So we will ensure the grassroots is regularized with such a platform where all the kids that are in academies are registered in their regional football associations, and then their registrations are put on a platform. This will help protect the academies who have these kids so that they can claim training compensation and solidarity compensation. This age cheating issue will become a thing of the past.
Mr. Sadibu, please, no clapping, no clapping, no clapping. You only had one chance to clap, was when Mr. Sadibu was walking up the stage. Please let us maintain silence as we proceed. Mr. Kamaso, a very quick follow-up question. How will a Kamaso-led football federation ensure that the regions receive the necessary support they require to run their leagues?
The regions are the main structures of the Gambia Football Federation, because they run the academy, they run the third division, and that is where these players graduate from to come to the senior level. If it is bad at that level, you do not expect anything better. That is why we're having all these age cheating issues and all these issues of player transfers being so cumbersome. The regions are going to be funded, because we are giving each region $1 million and a brand new pickup so that they can tour everything that is in that region. And there's going to be a monitoring and evaluation unit in the Gambia Football Federation that ensure their programs are monitored and evaluated. And then the right funding is given to them with people following up. And that is why we're bringing the third vice president who comes all the way from URR to ensure this is enforced.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamaso. That brings us to the end of the first thematic area, which was on league standardization, growth of women's football, and regional football plans. We now move to the second thematic area, and your first question is: a total of $11,445,000, which is in Gambian dalasi $549,360,000 is the total amount FIFA has committed to the Gambia. Of this amount, FIFA has approved 9,529,934, which is 457,436,832 from 2016 to date. The cost in dollars is actually calculated with the dollar pegged at 48. Currently, the Gambia Football Federation has an outstanding balance of $1,415,066, which is $67,875,168 in the FIFA coffers. Therefore, you can agree with me that this is a substantial amount that, if properly managed, can keep Gambia's football afloat. How will a Kamaso-led football federation ensure that these sums of cash are properly managed and accounted for in the management and administration of Gambian football in 90 seconds?
First of all, I must admit that it is a shame that that much money has been spent on Gambian football and there's little to show for it. That's why I said I am the future. I am a businessman. And around me, I have people who understand how projects are run. In the first case, these projects were assigned to an individual who has no understanding of projects. And it's about time we start handing over these projects to individuals who know them. If other countries like Cape Verde, Senegal, Liberia, Sierra Leone are using their project funds the right way, we should be able to do that. And as we go into office, we are going to ensure that no contractor is given funds to run GFF projects and goes away without fulfilling those contracts. What we will do, we will ensure that monies meant for football are spent on football. Monies meant for projects are not siphoned into any other area other than football. We are accountable to the people, and we must ensure this is done to the latter. What Team Restore Confidence would do would be all the statement of approvals that we gain from FIFA will have somebody who monitors and evaluates these projects, because we are going to create a legal department who ensures all the documents that are signed are legally binding between the GFF and the contractors. And in so doing, all parties must ensure they play their part as per the contract that is assigned. FIFA has given a lot of funding for us to run our football, and we should be able to do that. By now, the Gambia should have had a pitch that the GFF owns, not rely on government, because a lot of millions have been plowed into this, and Gambians cannot even see where it is, and GFF should come out to explain that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamaso. The second question is, in order to be financially stable, the Football Federation will need to attract sponsors and partners. How will the Kamaso-led executive ensure that the Football Federation attracts sponsors and maintain financial stability and accountability in 90 seconds?
First of all, restore confidence. If people do not trust you, they do not invest in you. People must trust you to invest in you. You should be accountable to the people. We are going to ensure there's a business arm of the GFF. The football hotel that the GFF has not been audited for over 4 years. That is inexcusable and not something that anybody would want to hear. We are going to ensure the business arm of Football Federation starts plowing money into the football. You will all agree with me that jersey sales are one area that every club or member association makes money from. Since the AFCON up to date, people struggle to get jerseys that they can buy. The jerseys are costing about 1,200, and yet there are no jerseys in town. As a businessman, we would ensure jerseys are all over the place so people can buy them, because that is one area that will help the GFF make money. We will establish a business arm for the Gambia Football Federation that will bring in resources for GFF and not rely on FIFA. Other countries who are all succeeding are not heavily reliant on FIFA. For Senegal, for instance, is using part of their COVID money to train stewards. So if we can have business arms and bring in programs and ideas that can help us sustain ourselves financially, we will do that. Gate takings. I don't ever remember the GFF coming out to tell the public how much they've made. And this is where they can support clubs. So that is also another area that the Team Restore Confidence will look at to ensure that funds that are meant for us.
Mr. Kamaso, just a follow-up question. It has been on the lips of Gambians that you have served in this executive. You have sat on very important committees. You have as well represented the incumbent, Mr. Lamin Kababajo, on numerous occasions. Why did Mr. Kamaso not make these changes? Why did Mr. Kamaso wait till now? Now he's speaking of these financial situations. Why did he not remedy it when he was part of the executive in 45 seconds?
The beauty of democracy is when people are voted into office, it is votes that can take them out. This is the time for me to come out and ask for votes. I was there. I was the one person that would raise the red flag. People keep saying I was there. The likes of Honorable Halifa Saleh have served this country, and they've been in the National Assembly as majority leaders. It doesn't mean they cannot contest for presidency. Nobody said, oh, you were in the National Assembly, why are you contesting now? So if people attribute that to my coming out now to say I shouldn't come out now, I think that is something people should carefully look at. I believe he was voted into office, and it is votes that can take him out. I can assure Gambians that when I was there, I have helped to save the Gambia a lot of resources by raising the red flag on a number of issues, because I was there to represent people, and that is what I did. It is votes that got him in, and it is votes that can get him out, and that is why I'm standing in front of people here to ask them for their votes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamaso. Your next question on this thematic area, which is on financial stability, independence, and FIFA funds. It is an open secret that the government is the main custodian of the national football teams. Wherein the government fails to uphold its end of the line, how can the Football Federation under Kamaso leadership ensure that our national teams are catered for? In 90 seconds.
I'm sure it is evident to everybody that government has spent over 150 million for the CAF qualifiers, and another 90 million before we went to AFCON, and an extra 25 million. That alone shows government's committed. as I said, if they do not trust you, they do not invest in you. You must show things that would ensure government trust you to invest in you. What Team Restore Confidence is going to do is to ensure that there's a stable relationship between government and the GFF. We should be able to show them our books of accounts so they understand where these fundings are coming. Telling people that GFF cannot be audited by government or FIFA doesn't allow that is something that I don't take, because we should be as transparent as possible so government understands. What Team Restore Confidence would do is to ensure, as I said, restore confidence and gain government's confidence. FIFA also provides a lot of fund for this. Aside of the monies that are provided for forward, there's 200,000 for equipment solidarity. There's another 200,000 for travel solidarity. What is stopping us from getting sponsors? The likes of Africell, the likes of Central Bank, all came in when we were going to AFCON, because the government came in and they had the belief and trust in the process because they've seen government officials around. So if we can see that, we will also ensure that that trust and confidence that they've had in the NCC to invest in them so that the national team can go and play in Cameroon, we would bring in that same atmosphere so that we have the trust and confidence of the people, the government, and FIFA to give us more money so we can take this on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamaso. The final question on this thematic area is, the Gambia Football Federation relies a lot on the subvention from FIFA. How can a Kamaso-led football federation assure the stakeholders of financial independence if or when the funds from FIFA stop coming in 45 seconds?
The FIFA funds are not going to be something that might stop now, because every candidate that is looking for positions will offer you. But we are still looking to establish a business arm of the federation, as I said. The football hotel is there. This should be manned by an independent body that are giving tasks and targets to bring us funding. Replica jersey sales. We have the different GFF products that we can sell to attract sponsors. We have all the different national team categories that we can sell. We have our parks. So these are all areas that we should look in. We will bring in a viable business program, a viable business venture that we can sell out to people who would be willing to spend their monies on it, on even the National League. Give it that prominence and make it lucrative so people can believe in and invest in their resources.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamaso. That brings us to the end of the second thematic area on financial stability, independence, and the FIFA funds. At this juncture, we'll be going for a short commercial break to look at our sponsors. Keep on watching and don't go away. We'll be right back.